Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by H3HR Advisors and sponsored by Paychex, one of the leading providers of HR, payroll, retirement, and software solutions for businesses of all sizes. My name is Steve Boese. Reality TV meets HR. The NLRB moves to classify Love is Blind cast as employees. The National Labor Relations Board issued a complaint against the hit reality show Love is Blind earlier last week, in which it classified the show's contestants as employees, opening up a case that could have widespread impact across the reality TV industry. The complaint by the Labor Board's regional office in Minnesota says that the show committed several labor violations, including unlawful contractual terms related to confidentiality and non-compete provisions for the cast members. And by classifying the cast members as employees with certain federal legal protections, the complaint opens the door to possible labor unionization. It is one of the Labor Board's first rulings regarding reality television practices and a major development in the effort by some reality TV personalities to change the industry through the legal system. Several contestants on Love is Blind, which streams on Netflix and has been one of the most popular dating shows since its launch in 2020, have come forward in lawsuits, in interviews, and on social media with objections to the restrictions outlined in their contracts. One contestant, Renee Posh, became involved in a legal dispute with the show after she publicly accused the production of allowing her to become engaged in front of TV cameras to a man who was unemployed with a negative balance in his bank account. She said in court papers, after she had made limited public remarks about her distressing time on the program, one of the companies behind the production started arbitration proceedings against her, accusing her of violating her non-disclosure agreement and seeking $4 million in damages. Posh said that during her time on the show, she earned a stipend of $1,000 per week, adding up to a total of $8,000. Two Love is Blind participants, Posh and Nick Thompson, submitted complaints to the Labor Board, resulting in an investigation into the policies and practices of the production companies behind the show. A Love is Blind season features 30 singles who date one another from separate rooms known as pods. Their conversations are fed through speakers, and they do not see whom they are talking with unless they decide to become engaged, a commitment that also comes with a wedding where they can say "I do" or walk away. In defending themselves against legal action, the production companies have asserted that the show's participants are not employees, and the Labor Board's complaint demands that the show reclassify its participants as employees and rescind what it calls the unlawful contractual provisions. Complaints are issued after a Labor Board regional office concludes that there is merit to accusations that have been made against an employer. They are then litigated before an administrative law judge who will determine whether the employer has violated the law. The employers could appeal any decision to the National Labor Board in Washington. In the world of reality television, production companies have long sought to reduce their exposure to litigation with tightly written contracts containing confidentiality provisions and other restrictions. And the complaint by the National Labor Relations Board outlines several provisions in Love is Blind cast member contracts that it deems unlawful. One is a non-compete provision that says cast members cannot give interviews or make news media appearances on their own behalf or for any third party for 1 year after their last episode airs. And another is a contractual term saying if a contestant wishes to leave the show and the production deems that person's reasoning is not legitimate, the contestant will be subject to a $50,000 fine. And the complaint seeks to make the production companies pay former cast members for any wages they've lost by agreeing to those provisions. Thompson, a cast member from the show's second season, began criticizing Love is Blind publicly more than a year after Netflix aired the episodes about his courtship with and marriage to another contestant. Thompson described the emotional turmoil of being a participant on the show, long filming hours, and what he viewed as manipulated conflict with other cast members. The labor complaint, which was signed by Jennifer Hadsall, the regional director in Minneapolis, noted that Thompson had received a letter from the production company that accused him of making escalating falsehoods and threatened legal action over what the board deemed protected employee activity. Earlier this year, Netflix and the production companies behind Love is Blind agreed to a $1.4 million settlement in a class action lawsuit brought by a former participant, Jeremy Hartwell. His lawyers calculated that people featured on the show were paid only about $7 an hour, less than half of the minimum wage in California, where part of the show was filmed. The settlement, which did not include any admission from the production companies that the contestants actually qualified as employees, is still subject to court approval. We will continue to follow this story to see if it indeed changes the landscape for reality TV cast members and if it alters the reality TV success formula, which is largely based on low cost and severe restrictions on the talent that underpins so many of these productions. We will continue to follow all the important topics and trends in the world of work here on the HR Happy Hour Media Network. That's it for the Workplace Minute, powered by H3 HR Advisors.